Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Sport Breaks. I am your host, Dante Washington, aka Coach Peanut, back with another episode. Got a special edition for you guys today. It is my first ever high school football edition. Before we get started, though, make sure you head to Spotify and subscribe to Sport Breaks or wherever you're getting your podcasting from. Make sure you subscribe there. Also, look me up on all social media platforms and make sure you subscribe and like, and wherever there is a bell, as I am doing a video right now on YouTube for YouTube. Make sure you hit that bell. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the content. It helps the channel. It helps the podcast. But also make sure you comment and join the conversation. Let's go. As you all know, I am based in South Carolina, Lake City, Penn Point. Thus, I'm in my Panther gear today. Today is Friday night. It is high school football here in South Carolina. Very big thing to us. It's not like the Floridas and Texas and all that good stuff. We got our own thing going on down here. You feel me? Yeah. But we have different classifications. We have the Skeezer ranks. We have the 8-man within the Skeezer ranks. We have the 2A, 1A, 2A, and 3A, and 4A in Skeezer. I'll be giving you an update on that, on the matchups and whatnot. Also, we have in our public schools, we have Class A, 2A, 3A, 4A, and 5A, which when I went to school, it used to be called the Big 16. But it is not the Big 16 anymore. It is a 5A, and that is our big schools. They basically look like junior colleges and some smaller colleges. And I'll be honest with you, some colleges around it rivals with their campuses. So no further ado, just make sure you be steady with me. I'm looking at my computer as I do this right now. Again, this is my first ever high school football edition. All right, I'm going with the Skeezer first. Looking at the Skeezer, what was going on in that 8-man football. We have the 8 seed Holy Trinity traveling to Richard Wynn. We have the 5th seed W.W. King at Jefferson Davis. We have the 7th seed Lawrence Academy at Holly Hill. Holly Hill is the 2 seed. We have Faith Christian, which is the 6th seed, traveling to the 3rd seed Wardland. And if I look at that, try to give you a rundown. Richard Wynn finished the season 9-1, 4-0 in the region. Finishing up second place in that region was Wardland Academy at 7-3. They finished 3-1 in the region, and W.W. King finished 2-2 in the region at 3-7. Holly Hill won their region, 8-1 loss, 3-0 in their region. Jefferson Davison finished 2-1 and 9-2 overall. Got a lot of independent schools. Providence finished 11-1. Augusta Eagles finished 9-1. But everybody else pretty much tidied up the rear. That was my 8-man standings, and like I said, I gave you the 8-man playoffs as well. Up to the Class A and the Skeezer, we have 8 seed Calhoun Academy traveling to number 1 seed Thomas Haywood. We have Clarendon Hall taking on Lee Academy. That is the 5th seed Clarendon Hall and the 4th seed Lee Academy. 7 seed Dillon Christian will take on number 2 seed Dorchester. St. John's a Christian, the number 6 seed, will take on the number 3 seed Patrick Henry. And we scroll up to look at what was going on with that Class A section. Dorchester finished 8-2, 3-0 in the region. Clarendon Hall as well as 8-2, but they lost to Dorchester, so they finished the region out 2-1. Lee Academy was 8-2, 2-0 in the region. They beat Dillon Christian Academy, so they finished 3-7 and 1-1. Thomas Haywood finished the season 6-4 overall. Patrick Henry finished 9-1, but Thomas Haywood was 1-0 in that region. Moving on up to the 2A section, we have Spartanburg Christian taking on the defending state champion Williamsburg Academy. The 5th seed Orangeburg Prep will take on Beaufort Academy. Greenwood Christian will travel to Bethesda Academy. I'm pretty sure I didn't say that right. But that's the 7 and number 2 seed. Number 6 seed North Christian is at 3 seed Colleton Prep. And we go and look at how that went. Bethesda Academy finished undefeated, 3-0 in their region. Colleton Prep finished 2nd place at 8-3 overall, but 2-1 in the region. Williamsburg Academy also finished the season 10-0, 2-0 in their region. My home academy, Carolina Academy, looked like they just missed out on the playoffs. They were 3-7 overall and 1-1 in the region. Like I said, Williamsburg Academy was the state champion last year. Their offense scored 400 points and only gave up 107. Bethesda Academy scored 383 and only gave up 61. So they too are probably the teams to be in 2A in Skeezer. 3A in Skeezer, we have First Baptist at Pinewood Prep, the number 1 seed Pinewood Prep. PD at Hilton Head Christian. 7 seed John Paul II at number 2 Florence Christian. Number 6 seed Northwood will take on the 3rd seed Wilson Hall. And to look at what went on in their region, Pinewood Prep finished up region champions, 6-0 in the conference, 7-3 overall. Wilson Hall finished 5-1. Hilton Head Christian finished 5-1. Florence Christian finished 5-1 as well. So they all tied for what looked like 2nd place, but they all made the playoffs. Moving up to the last classification for Skeezer, and it is the 4A. Number 8 seed Trinity Collegiate will travel to number 1 seed Hammond. Hammond, I think, if I'm not mistaken, won the state championship last year. Augusta, a Christian, 5th seed, will travel to number 4 seed Cardinal Newman. Number 7 seed Heathwood Hall is at number 2 seed Lawrence Manning. Quick note about Lawrence Manning. Lawrence Manning played my home town, my home high school, Lake City High School, and beat them this year. Yes. Ben Lippin, number 6 seed, is at number 3 Port of God. And looking at what happened in their region, Hammond finished 8-2, 6-0 overall. Lawrence Manning, Port of God, Cardinal Newman all finished 5-1 and 8-2 records behind Hammond. That is my Skeezer segment. Again, the 8-man title game will be November 17th. The 3A, 2A, and Class A will decide their champions on November 18th, and looks like the 4A as well. So that is my Skeezer segment. Now on to my public school section. Before I get to my public school section, again, make sure you are subscribed to Sport Breaks on all platforms. Make sure you hit that bell. Like I said, I am doing a video right now on YouTube. Hit those likes, run them likes up. It very much helps the channel. Give me them views. Definitely hit me up in the comment if you hear me pronounce a school name wrong, or if they won a state championship, or whatever the case is. Are you rooting for your favorite player, your son, your cousin, whoever? Hit me up in the comments, man. Let's celebrate the kids for sure. Starting off with our Class A. We have a lot of regions in Class A, but I'll start off with just naming the region champions, and then I will get to the brackets, upper state and lower state. The region champions out of 8, 1A is Cross at 9-1, 4-0. Damn, I can't talk. 4-0 overall. 7AA, Bamberg Earnhardt finished 9-1, 4-0 in the region. Lamar finished 7-3 overall, but 4-0 in their region in 6-1A. Region 5 1A, Johnsonville finished 6-2 and 3-0 in the region. 4-1A, Calhoun County finished 9-1 and 5-1 in the region. They actually finished in a 3-way tie, but it looks like they scored the most points and they gave up the least points. So I'm gonna say they are the region champions. Louisville in 3-1A, they finished 9-1 overall and 4-0 in the region. And region 1-1A, Christchurch finished 8-2, and they finished 6-0 in their region. And looking at the playoff brackets, of course, tonight all games start. Most games will start at 7:30. If anything starts before that, please let me know in the comments. Calhoun County will play Whitmore. Southside Christian will play Denmark-Olaire. Louisville will play Calhoun Falls. St. Joseph will play Hunter Kennard, and that is on one of the lower state sides. Bamberg Earnhardt will play Pamplico. East Clarendon will be at home. Shout out to my little cuz Rod Shaw, man. Running back for East Clarendon, doing big things. And East Clarendon has not had a home playoff game in quite some time, but Lil Cuz has done his thing and has led the way, and they play Military Magnet tonight. Cross will take on Hemingway, and Ladder will take on Allendale Fairfax. That is in the lower state. In the upper state, we have Baptist Hill taking on Carvers Bay, Lamar taking on Branchville. No, this is more. You know what? The first few names I gave you was on the upper state side as well. The Calhoun County and all that, they're in the upper state side. So let me give you the upper state first, and I'm gonna give you the lower state second. Christchurch will take on Ridgeville Spring. McBee will take on Dixie. Blackville Hilda will take on McCormick, and C.A. Johnson will take on Wagner Sally. Other half of the lower state side will be Johnsonville versus St. John's, Whale Branch versus Lakeview, Lamar versus Branchville, Baptist Hill versus Carvers Bay, and I will continue on just to reiterate. Bamberg Earnhardt versus Pamplico, East Clarendon at home against Military Magnet, Cross at home taking on Hemingway, and Ladder taking on Alexander Fairfax. That is our 1A bracket. And let's go look at what was going on in 2A. Marion, winners of the Region 8-2A for the past 5-6 years now. They were 9-1 overall, 4-0 in that region. 7-2A, Oceanside Collegiate, 7-3 overall, 4-0 in the region. 6-2A, Hampton County, 9-1 overall, 4-0 in the region. 5-2A, Andrew Jackson, 7-3 overall, 5-0 in the region. Gray Collegiate, the dominant team in 2A, 10-0 overall, 6-0 in conference play. A lot of teams did not want to play Gray Collegiate. If you are not from around South Carolina, please look up the things that has been reported about Gray Collegiate as far as teams not wanting to play them. They feel like they had a unfair advantage, and that may be so, but it is playoff time. You either going to play them or you not going to win a state championship, one of the two. But make sure you go look at the articles that was written about Gray Collegiate. 3-2A, we have Strong Thurman, 5-0 in the region, 8-2 overall. And finishing up 1-2A, the Giants of 2A football, Abbeville, finished 9-1, 5-0 in the region. And again, looking at the brackets, I'm going to go Upper State first. Abbeville will take on Columbia. Newberry will take on Saluda. That's going to set up a big matchup between if Abbeville wins and say Newberry or Saluda wins. They always seem to play tough games against each other. Silver Bluff is taking on Mid Carolina. Fairfield Central will take on Liberty. Strong Thurman will take on Landers. 96 will take on Keenan. Gray Collegiate will take on Pelon, and Batesburg-Leesville will take on Chenise. In the lower state side, Barnwell will take on Lake Marion. Marion will take on Central. Sherrall will take on Woodland. Ocean Collegiate will take on Lee Central. Andrews will take on North Central. Hampton County will take on Bishop England. Timberland will take on King Street. And Andrew Jackson will take on Ridgeville, Hardyville. That is your 2A bracket. And let's look at 3A now. In 8-3A, we had Hanahan finishing 6-4, 4-0 in their conference. 7-3A, we had Dillon finishing 9-1 and 5-0 in their conference. 6-3A, home of the region of the Lake City Panthers. They finished 4th place in the region, but Crestwood was the region winner. They dethroned Camden. Camden has won this region for the last 4 to 5 years. Again, comment and correct me if I'm wrong. But Crestwood finished 9-1 and 5-0 in the region. 5-3A, we had Brooklyn Casey winning that region at 8-2 overall, 5-0 in their conference. They beat Gilbert on the last game of the season to be the region winner. Gilbert was previously undefeated. Clinton finished 8-2, but they got the win over Chester to win their region at 4-0. Chapman finished 9-1 overall and 4-0 in the region. In Region 2 3A, Bethune-Honey Path finished 10-0 and 5-0 in the region. Daniel in 1 3A finished 10-0 and 5-0 in their region. A lot of people don't know it, but that is the high school of the great DeAndre Hopkins. Shout out to D-Hop, South Carolina born and bred. And looking at Class 3A brackets, again, I am doing the Upper State first. Daniel will take on Blue Ridge. Wren will take on Woodruff. Chapman will take on Crescent. Chester will take on Pottersville. Belton Honey Path will take on Emerald. Pendleton will take on Travelers Rest. Clinton will take on Palmetto, and Broome will take on Seneca. In the lower state side, Loras will take on Buford. Crestwood will take on Orangeburg. I forgot that name. Orangeburg something other. Philip Simon will take on Manning. Brooklyn Casey will take on Lake City. Gilbert will take on Darlington. Hanahan will take on Ana. Camden will take on Dreer. And Dillon will take on North Charleston. That is our 4A bracket. Moving on up to 3A bracket. Now we're going on to 4A. Region 7 4A was won by James Island, undefeated overall and in the region. 6 4A, South Florence continued their dominance. I think they won something like 20-something odd games straight. Last year's state champion in the 4A ranks. They are ranked number 1 in 4A. They finished their season undefeated overall, period, in the region. Midland Valley finished undefeated as well, overall and in the region. 4A, Irmo finished 10-0 and 5-0 in the region. 3-4A, Northwestern finished 5-0 in the region and 9-1 overall. 2-4A, Greer finished 4-0 in the region, only 5-5 overall. Region 1 4A, Westside finished 9-1 overall, 5-0 in the region. And we will go directly to their bracket. Greer will take on Indian Land. Greenville will take on South Aiken. North Augusta will take on Greenwood. Northwestern will take on Lawrence. Riverside will take on York. Westside will take on Airport. South Point will take on Eastside. And Midland Valley will take on Easley. To the lower state side, James Island will take on Wilson. Hartsville will take on AC Flora. Irmo will take on Colleton County. Myrtle Beach will take on May River. Ridgeview will take on Lancaster. Lucy Beckham will take on West Florence. Bluffton will take on Richland Northeast. And the number 1 seed, South Florence, will take on Lugoff Elgin, the Demons. That is our 4A bracket. Let's get into our last classification. It is our 5A schools, our old Big 16 schools. Some schools have dropped and moved up, but these are the big boys, the big schools with the most students going to them. 7-5A, Somerville finished undefeated overall and in the region. 6-5A, Stratford finished 3-1 along with Goose Creek. But apparently they beat Goose Creek, so that gave them the region title. They finished both 4-6. 5-5A, Carolina Forest finished 4-0 in the region, 7-3 overall. 4-5A, White Knoll finished 9-0 overall, 4-0 in the region. 3-5A, Clover finished 8-2, 5-0 in the region. And 2-5A, James F. Barnes finished 9-1, 4-0 in the region as well. And lastly, 1-5A, TL Hanna finished 9-1 and 4-0 in their region to capture their region title. Let's look at their bracket. Of course, the upper state is going first. TL Hanna faces Fort Mills. Dutch Fork will take on Bowling Springs. Clover will take on Woodmont. Gaffney will take on Lexington. A game from yesterday, playoff game from yesterday, Rock Hill lost to Spartanburg 31-7. So Spartanburg moves on in that bracket. They will face the winner of J.L. Mann and Blythewood. James F. Barnes takes on Dorman. Nation Ford will take on Hillcrest. In the lower state side, Goose Creek will take on West Ashley. Carolina Forest will take on St. James. Conway will take on Berkeley. Somerville will take on River Bluff. Sumter will take on Ashley Ridge. Stratford will take on Chapin. Excuse me for the pronunciation. Fort Dorchester will take on Socastee. And White Knoll will take on Cane Bay. That is our skeezer, our 8-man to our skeezer to our 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, and 5A here in South Carolina. I dare not try to predict who wins, who doesn't. But I will say I would do this. To me, the favorites in 1A has definitely have to be I want to make sure they definitely probably will be Christ Church or the likes of Baptist Hill, one of those two. Christ Church being in the upper state, Baptist Hill being in the lower state. In the 2A, you gotta look at Abbeville. You have to look at Great Collegiate, and they're both on a big collision with each other for the right to even get to the state championship game. From the lower state side, Marion and Oceanside seems to be the team to be on that side. I may even take a peek and say Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson has always been a decent program. For 3A, Daniel on the upstate side looks to be the favorite to come from out of there. And of course, you have to say two teams from out of the lower state side. Dillon and Crestwood will probably meet for the right to the lower state championship game. So I would be shocked if that doesn't happen. In the 4A side, you definitely have to look at Midland Valley. They played well all year. And I would probably say Greer as well, despite their overall record. Greer has been playing tough. But the overall favorite comes out of the lower state side, and that definitely will be South Florence. They won last year, and they will probably clash with James Island. I would be shocked if that doesn't happen. Or be on the lookout for Hartsville as well. Hartsville has their running back, and he is okay, I think. But South Florence, the team definitely to beat. In 5A, you can never count out Dutch Fork. They played a tough schedule this year, but another team that was decent enough that I've kind of paid attention to was it wasn't Gaffney. I think it was, I want to say TL Hanna. TL Hanna was decent this year as well. On the lower state side, Fort Dorchester will be a team to reckon with. And I'd probably say Carolina Forest is a sneaky good team, but they could challenge to go to the lower state championship in 5A. But anyway, that is my first ever high school edition. It is the playoff edition. It is South Carolina football. There's chill in the air when it's supposed to be 72 around this time. But that is South Carolina. You got your parts of winter early. You got some spring right around about midday. Fall probably start around about 4:30, and get your coat back out for about 8 o'clock if you're gonna be out. But that is my high school edition. I would like to say good luck to each and every one team. I pray that every kid plays the game the right way and comes out harm free, injury free, and mentally able. So again, make sure you are subscribed to Sport Breaks on Spotify or wherever you're getting your podcasting from. Also, make sure that you are following and subscribe to Sport Breaks on all social media platforms. As I said, I'm doing a video right now. Make sure you hit that bell. Make sure you like the content and run them likes up. Definitely, it promotes the channel. It is free, of course. And again, if you've already done that, I appreciate you very much. Because if it ain't Sport Breaks, it ain't knowledge world. Peace.